Welcome to Straight Talk and Retirement, your no-hype source for financial advice and making informed choices about your retirement planning. Get on the phone to talk today at 314-931-5877 or text your question to 84126.
The opinions voiced in this show are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, and financial advisor or tax advisor prior to investing. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Private Advisor Group, a registered investment advisor. Private Advisor Group and JBL Financial Services, Inc. are separate entities from LPL Financial.
Now, here are your retirement coaches, Jeff and Erin Lapidus.
Hello, St. Louis, and welcome to Straight Talk on Retirement, your live and local St. Louis's favorite financial call-in show. I'm Erin Lapidus, president of JBL Financial Services, financial planner and wealth manager, and I'm joined this week and every single week by my dad, Jeff Lapidus, wealth manager and retirement coach, and my husband, Robert Markham, our life insurance and fixed annuity sales specialist.
Good morning.
Good morning, babe.
Good morning. We help our clients make smart choices about their money. The way we do that is by designing a game plan, a written, step-by-step strategy, a real game plan with several goals in mind.
First is to preserve, protect, and prudently grow the assets our clients have taken their entire lifetimes to accumulate.
Second is to provide an income stream they can rely on so they can do all the things they want in retirement.
And third is cost-effectively addressing their health care needs, like helping individuals enroll in Medicare and choosing the right plan to couple with their Medicare coverage.
And then when they're done enjoying their assets during their lifetime, we show them how to pass them on to the people they love, whether it's their spouses or children, grandchildren, churches, or charities, whoever it might be, without Uncle Sam or the tax courts taking a big bite out of their money. And as their wealth managers, Erin, Rob, and I watch their money every single day to make sure they're staying on track. And that's why they call us the retirement coaches. Gang and folks in Radio Land, good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning. We get the full 2 hours today.
Woo!
That's
we love
right.
that.
Yeah, no breaking news to interrupt the stream.
That's right.
The only thing that's going to interrupt us is what we love, which is your phone calls and your texts at 314-931-5877 or 84126 from the text line. And before we do get to your calls and texts this morning, we do want to remind everybody that there are lots of ways that you can keep in touch with us during the week.
That's right. Just log on to our website, jblfinancial.com. Click on the Contact Us button. You can request a coaching session, financial, Medicare, or both. You can also click on the pop-up box that appears that says sign up for our monthly newsletter. We call it the Coach's Corner. And if you do sign up, we will send it out to you the first day of every single month in your inbox. We also keep the last 18 months archived on the website for you, along with a variety of other clips from the show,
blog
posts, and articles for you to peruse. But why don't we talk a little bit about our January 2026 newsletter?
Got some great articles in the January 2026 newsletter. We hope you enjoy. The first one being, how will AI transform the workplace? Employers weigh in. Rapid developments in AI have left workers wondering when their jobs might be significantly affected or even eliminated. Almost 90% of employers across the globe expect changes by 2030, and we highlighted a few of the survey's results last week. One I wanted to touch on today was 62% of employers feel they will be hiring people with skills to work alongside AI, which I find fascinating because can you imagine yourself coming into work and then, you have a disagreement with the Tesla Optimus bot and now you're in an argument with it?
I think that,
or
that's
the Tesla bot is calling you lazy before you even get there, like looking at its watch, like, yeah, he's 5 minutes late, as always.
I have a special reporting tool. No, I think it's interesting because, and I've seen quite a few ads for this where you can start training yourself to learn how to use AI in a little more of an advanced way than simply as a highly optimized search engine. So I do think that people are going to start to have specialized skills within their field pertaining specifically to AI that's been developed for their field.
Yeah, I absolutely agree, and I think everyone looks at the.
It's kind of like Excel for people that work in finance. You need to know how to format those cells.
Absolutely, absolutely. But I just am so fascinated by the robotic part of AI, and marrying the AI with the robotics is
like taking the coding piece of it and coupling it with something in the physical world.
Exactly, and with the idea that the robot is now able to, with various sensors, not only learn but see and understand what it's looking at is pretty wild. I mean, just watching these various robots, say, crack eggs and be able to make omelets is, I mean, yes, that's a very basic
for humans,
right? But just the dexterity to be able to pick up the egg without cracking it, go ahead and do. I mean, it's impressive.
Not to get too far off the topic here of retirement, but I think something that I was at a conference several months ago in Austin where we were able to listen to someone who has really been at the forefront of what AI will do not only to our industry, but what is going to happen globally on the economic impact of AI. I've heard him speak a few times, and he was talking about how, just as we were discussing that now it's not really seeing, but theoretically the robot can see. Not only is it having the capability to see, but it's taking what it sees and actually creating code behind it. So it's almost like we are going to have a written record of what it is to be physically human, because now all these AI robots and other, not just robots that like supposed to simulate humans, but all different types of robotics are learning and writing that code down, which is interesting.
It is a very exciting time, in tech and innovation, and it's changing rapidly.
So many things are.
And our next article, Keeping Cool in Volatile Markets. This is a great article that, with some words of wisdom when it comes to staying the course in volatile markets. This piece has some great examples from the very recent history to draw upon, most notably the COVID sell-off. If you had sold during that, you missed out on a very rapid retracement of those losses over, what was it, about 4 months, and then most recently with Trump and his tariff announcement, we saw steep declines over a couple week periods, but then from June to November, the market went on to make new highs. So this is a great article with some really good yard markers, such as tuning out the noise. You don't want to invest according to the news cycle. You don't want to day trade the market. You want to stay the course. You want to have a strategy that is in line with your risk tolerance, time horizon, and your goals. And you want to stick to it over a long period of time.
I think a really nice thing, if you are not a subscriber to the newsletter and you want to take a visual look at what Rob's talking about, I think one of the nicest parts about this article is a visual representation of what is being discussed, which is it's showing a $10,000 investment, because that's usually how we take a look at it's usually how we like to graph things in $10,000 increments. So let's say we invested $10,000 in September of 2005, so 2005. Thank you. We take a look first when we get to April through November of 2020, what that pivot point looks like. If you stayed fully invested, that $10,000 investment in September of 2025 would have been $80,000, $80,174 to be specific.
Right. If you missed any of the retracement.
Right. So let's say you sold out at the bottom. We're just going to assume the bottom here. You sold out at the bottom in September of 2020. And then you bought back in again. You missed the bounce back, and your assets would only be valued at $56,580 5 years later. So that's, what is that, a $26,000 difference?
Yeah, it's $26,000 difference, and that is about almost it's over 25% haircut on your portfolio. from 80 to 56.
That's pretty significant. So
Yes. So I thought when I was selecting the articles for the newsletter, I thought this one would be very, very important for our readers and listeners to keep an eye on, because there'll be another sell-off, and when there is, we need to go back to the rules that got us here.
that's a great way to say it. I was thinking, hindsight's always 20/20. We can look back at these scary times and be like, if you had just stayed calm, everything would be fine.
If you have rules and you have a game plan, it's best to stay. I mean, you have rules for this reason, and you have a game plan for this reason. If you're not sticking with it, then what was the point of having it to begin with?
What's our third article?
Our third article, Q&As on RMDs. We just finished up 2025, and we got a lot of questions. We were inundated with RMD questions because obviously, people are reaching the ages where they have to take them, and, obviously they have some questions. This is a great article to kind of bring all that together.
Right, if you were somebody that had a question at the end of last year because you had to take, now you've got a whole year to plan.
Exactly, and, it answers the basics, like what are RMDs, required minimum distributions, what accounts are subject to RMDs, how much do you have to withdraw, how are your taxes affected. This article is going to bring it all together for you. It's a great refresher. If there are any gaps in your knowledge, this will be a one-stop shop for all your Q&As on RMDs. And our last article, Don't Take the Bait. The IRS has put together their so-called Dirty Dozen list of the worst tax scams for 2025 that they want you on the lookout for this new year, because I know we're only in January, but we'll be in tax time in like 90 days.
I was in the car, I think it was yesterday morning, and I was listening to one of another local radio show, I believe, and they were talking about local scams in St. Louis, and apparently there is one going on about the St. Louis Police Department that you owe some sort of money, you have a fine assessed against you, and someone's coming to pick it up. No, they're not. Don't fall for it.
I joke that in many cases they've turned many law enforcement officers into low-level tax collectors, but this would be a whole new, we're literally coming to your house to get the money.
Right.
That's great.
Have the check ready.
Yeah.
No,
we're sending men with guns. I mean, it's just
So there's a lot to look out for these days, but I would say that, if usually your gut instinct is accurate, and if you're already in arrears, what's one more day, right? So if somebody calls you and, you're have a late payment, there's a fine. If you feel like something's not right here, what's one more day? Just investigate a little bit before you start giving personal information out over the phone, by email. Be like, hey, well, what company are you with? Give me that information, and I will call you back with payment.
My default setting when it comes to these things, especially on the phone, is no. Just no.
No, thank you.
No, I don't need that. But one of the ones I wanted to highlight was fake charities. They are setting up fraudulent charities to prey on your goodwill and steal not only your donations, but possibly even personal information. So you really want to verify that the good work that you'd like to do, i.e. through donations, is actually going to get to the people that you want it to get to. So you want to really double-check those charities.
That could be dangerous on a few levels, because I know that there's concerns about check washing, where, you write a check to someone and they're able to wash off what you wrote, write something new on there. So that's pretty nefarious, especially if you're dealing with something that's not charitable. Maybe you sent money to that organization and were expecting a tax deduction. Well, if they're not a qualified 501c3, the IRS isn't going to give you that deduction. So now not only did you lose the money because you thought you were donating somewhere reputable that was going to do the things you wanted, but now you don't even get the extra benefit aside from the goodwill you thought you had of the tax break. So definitely be careful about that. I'm sure that comes up frequently around the holidays, but then, every time's a relative holiday, because we'll have Christmas in July soon already.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. But, they've got the Dirty Dozen out here, and our article highlights all of them. We've gone through about 3, so over the next couple of weeks we'll hit them all. But that is your January 2026 newsletter in a nutshell, and just for your reading and perusal enjoyment, we keep the last 18 months archived on there. So if you want to dive in and spend a whole day consuming the content, we invite you to do so.
Excellent. Thank you.
Which is great. Remind everybody, our phone lines are open. We'd love to hear from you. 931-5877 or 84126 from the text line. And before we get into our subject matter this morning, our incredibly handsome as well as young and capable producer, Eric Gabrielson, captured a couple of texts that we received at the end of the show. And I think it would be great for us to address these. I thought they were very good questions. What do you think, babe?
You really stole my thunder because I was going to give all of that credit to Eric for keeping those texts for us from last week. But we've got not only a couple of texts from last week, we have some new texts already from this morning. So why don't we do what we're here to do, which is answer your questions?
Absolutely. And our text from last week says, what's involved in a coaching session? Do I send my current investment portfolio and you review it and we talk about what direction would be or something else? Great question.
This is a great question. Well, I think I'd like to start off with saying that, what we like to sit down with every new prospective client and say, tell us a little bit about yourselves and how you hope we can help. So our ultimate goal is that when we're sitting down with you in a coaching session, we first want to hear about what your top priorities are in terms of retirement planning, and usually that means either getting us to retirement or maintaining retirement if you happen to already be retired. So we like to hit on those topics first.
Yes, I'd also mention that if we're not doing this in person, face to face, then you would send us information in advance because we want to be prepared for our visit. But for those that do want to come in and see us at our offices at 9300 Olive Boulevard in wild, wonderful downtown, all of that, what we'll do is we'll ask you not only bring us information on your current investment portfolio, but also a copy of your last year's tax return, will and trust information, as well as any insurance policies, annuity contracts, any debt instruments you'd like us to review and for us to discuss, as well as any other information that you might have, so that we can be in a position to get a good overview of where the landscape is for you, as well as obviously being able to answer those questions that Erin just posed, so that we can get down to what's really important for you.
That's right.
So that was a very good question, and
so if you are someone or you're the texter that was considering setting up a coaching session, it's pretty easy to do that. All you want to do is give our office a call, 314-863-0008. Kelly, our office manager, will review everything my dad just said, but she'll help you find a day and time that works. If it's going to be virtual, either by phone or Zoom, then Kelly will ask you to send everything to her in advance, so we'll be able to take a look at it during the prior to your visit. And we send you a financial questionnaire, a financial profile, and then an investor profile, and then a list that kind of summarizes the documents that you just mentioned, Dad. If you're coming into the office, we say just bring it along with you, and we send you some directions to the office, a reminder in advance, and we'd be excited to see anyone.
And the more documents you bring, the better the coaching session will go. So,
right.
More is less in this regard, I would say.
More is more. I like that. All right, let's get to our second text.
And I'll take this one from our text line. Our texter writes, is it better to have a bank trust department or an attorney handle my estate as a trustee? Thank you.
I would say, and Dad, I'm sure you have some to weigh in on this, I would say number one is who are you most comfortable with? Or number two is where's going to be least expensive? Because... and reputable, of course, but because your trust document's going to lay out what the trustee is to do with those assets. So really the trustee, in my mind, becomes more of an administrator. You've already let them know what the scope of their responsibilities are and how they are to distribute assets. So to me, this to me is a cost thing.
I like the way that you put that. I would also suggest here is that in most cases, most individuals, assuming they have a loved one, whether it's a spouse, possibly children, nieces and nephews, whoever it is, is actually designating a human being as being the trustee, and then they're also then possibly looking for a place, a custodian, who you're thinking of now as the trust department that would be there to administer the assets. That's okay. Banks tend to be a little bit more expensive as a custodian and as a trustee than, let's call them investment advisory firms that happen to own trust companies, whether it would be any of the big names that you're thinking about. Our broker-dealer also owns a bank. It's called Private Trust Company. In many cases, what's happening is that you as a client have an opportunity to say, hey, I would like, if you do have someone that you've chosen that you'd like to be the trustee, they could be a co-trustee or trustee by themselves. The trust company could be basically there just for protection and administrative purposes, which is fine. They could also be a trustee in line, maybe the second or the third trustee, if the first or second trustee that you've named is unable to perform those duties. Or alternatively, at the very end of the day, what happens is that if you don't have someone that you would like to name as the trustee, I think what you need to consider is, Erin was really mentioning this in the trust documents, what does your trust say? If in fact it's what you want to have occur is to have all of your assets immediately distributed at your death, you don't need a trustee at all in terms of a bank or a financial institution. Your attorney could possibly do that because the trustee's, again, important and vital function is to gather the assets. But if you're not going to be asking for those assets to be held away from the beneficiaries, they're going to be directly distributed, whether it's even creating IRA accounts, etc. The truth is, you don't need a trust.
Well, you might have had a trust for creditor protection potentially.
And that a living trust, you would have
Sure.
that maybe during your life, but at death, your will is going to create, legacy trust, those trusts that fall afterwards where assets are going to be put into, and the real question becomes, do you really need that after your death?
That's a good point.
And if the answer is no, you trust your beneficiaries. Just use an example. My wife and I have a living trust.
Mm-hmm.
It says basically that at our death, what occurs is that all the assets that we have are going to be distributed to our children, my two daughters. Do we need a trust to be set up after our death with a new EIN number, federal tax ID number, for that assets to be put in there so they can then be distributed out? The answer is no. We trust our daughters, and so guess what? They're going to get the dough directly. If we didn't trust them, or there was a reason to keep those assets away from them, then a trust would be appropriate. If we had, fortunately, neither of my daughters have issues at this point, but if we had a special needs grandchild, or if you had a child that need, et cetera, well, then you might need a trust for special needs. But other than that, if you trust someone to receive the money, you don't need a trust vehicle to hold money away from them.
The other thing I was going to mention is, just to kind of wrap up, especially as you were mentioning maybe inline trustees, if you are an individual who doesn't have someone they'd like to designate as the trustee, then maybe using a bank or an attorney makes sense. But I also think that using an institution over an individual, if you are not selecting a family member, might make sense because your attorney could pass away before you do. So having maybe the institution there, then that way you always know that no matter what happens, or the attorney could retire before it's time. Like, death doesn't have to be the only outcome. Exactly. So potentially having an institution that, a longstanding institution might give you better potential longevity with your selected trustee. And then we did have a trust follow-up question. And
our texter writes, is a disclaimer trust required to go to probate? Go to probate, excuse me.
No. So a disclaimer trust allows a spouse to...
beginning part, we just have a middle and an ending to put on this with a nice big bow.
That's right.
Absolutely. And again, our phone lines are open. We'd love to hear from you, 314-931-5877 or 84126 from the rapidly growing text line.
The completely inundated text line. And our next texter writes, when should I be getting my bill for continuing Part D coverage from WellCare? Well, I mean, here we are 10 days into the month, and one thing I know for certain is that the insurance company is going to want their money. So I would imagine sometime between now and the end of the month, you will definitely be getting that bill.
That's right. They generally bill in arrears, so you will be able to maintain your coverage all month, even if, the mail's a little slow. Now, if you have recently elected Social Security benefits, they're going to start taking that Part D premium. Most likely, they may have flipped over to just taking it out of your Social Security. So you just want to check and see how you registered, or if you have no premium associated with your WellCare policy, because a few of them are zero premium, you might not have any premium to pay. So
there you go.
There you go.
And our next texter writes, and this is a great question.
Well, you know what? Before we get to that text, because it's a long one.
You take our next break?
Let's take our last break of this hour.
Yeah, why not? So don't touch that dial. We'll be back with more of your texts and calls after these brief messages.
St. Louis Auto Show returns January 22nd through the 25th at the America's Center. Bring the whole family and explore hundreds of new vehicles from the world's biggest automotive brands. Then get up close and personal with the coolest, most expensive rides ever created at the $1 Million Mile. There's even something for the kids with our Mid-America Chevy dealers, sponsored Kids Zone. Get your tickets today at stlautoshow.com. Kids 12 and under get in free. That's stlautoshow.com.
Wouldn't you like to take a vacation from your bills? Well, you can. With credit card balances at an all-time high and Golden Oak's 4.5% rate, you could be saving thousands of dollars after a simple phone call. Call today and get your cash in as little as 14 days and make no payments for 2 months. Call 314-567-GOLD.
Golden Oak Landing cured my blues.
5.442 APR, FHA 15-year, 20% equity, qualified credit, additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
Over the years, Lordo's has become part of the family for many, many St. Louis families. For 80 years, they've been helping St. Louis families with all of the jewelry needs, whether it's the diamond ring, a diamond ring, maybe something for St. Patrick's Day, something for an anniversary, Valentine's Day. Throughout the years and throughout the calendar, it's Lordo's as your go-to. Whether it's men or women, you want to repurpose something or buy something new? Lordo's Diamonds in the heart of Ladue on Clayton Road. You see, it's a family business. The family's been running it for years, and they learned it from their father, who learned it from their father. And so that family jeweler, it's where generations of St. Louisans go. Grandparents have gone there. Your grandkids will go there. Right there in Ladue on Clayton Road, across the street from a Norman Rockwell-esque firehouse, is Lordo's Diamonds. Go in, make a friend, and make them your family jeweler, because you can thank me later. 314-432-8008 or online, lordosdiamonds.com.
This is Jeff Lapidus, the retirement coach. Wouldn't it be great to have a game plan, a real strategy, so that no matter what was going on in the stock market, the economy, or the world, that you could be confident about your retirement? Wouldn't that be great? If you're within 5 years of retirement, call me today at 314-863-0008. That's 314-863-0008. Or send me an email, jeff@jblfinancial.com, to arrange your free coaching session. Let's get started on your retirement game plan today.
Wouldn't you like to take a vacation from your bills? Well, you can. With credit card balances at an all-time high and Golden Oak's 4.5% rate, you could be saving thousands of dollars after a simple phone call. Call today and get your cash in as little as 14 days and make no payments for 2 months. Call 314-567-GOLD.
Golden Oak Landing cured my blues.
5.442 APR, FHA 15-year, 20% equity, qualified credit, additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
Let's talk about smart choices for your money. It's Straight Talk and Retirement on the Big 550 KTRS. Here are your retirement coaches, Jeff and Erin Lapidus.
Well, welcome back to the show. It's 9:49 here on the Big 550 KTRS Talk Radio St. Louis. We're here to answer your calls and your texts. We've got about 9 minutes left in hour number one. 314-931-5877 or 84126 on the text line.
And our next texter writes, Is it a bad idea to take profits from your winners and wait for the market to go down to get back in, or just don't worry about a potential bear market? Do you think it's too hard to figure out when to get back in and miss the climb back up? Sorry, one more question. If you have some money to invest, is it better to wait for the market to go down 5 to 10%? Well, on the beginning part of it, it's never a bad idea to take profits and to rebalance your portfolio. So that's never a bad idea. But, trying to time the market, trying to ride the wave, so to speak, that's when you could get into a little bit of trouble.
I think that's a great start to this answer, which is that, rebalancing the portfolio is an important component of maintaining not only your risk tolerance over a long period of time, but maintaining the balance of assets that you'd like to have over a long period of time, because not everything moves at the same direction at the same rate in the same direction. So that's important. Taking your profits and going to straight cash and then letting it sit there, Dad, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, again, I would say that at the same time as rebalancing is important to do, you want to do it in a mechanical way.
Right.
Choose a certain time, a certain date. At the same time, if you do have money to invest, every day is a good day. But if you feel like you'd like to time some of the money into the market, create some rules for yourself. Just say, fine, I've got X amount of money. Maybe I'm going to take 25 or 50%, create my initial position or investment in that stock or that fund or whatever it would be, and then systematically say, guess what? I'm going to dollar cost average it, okay? Once every 15 days, 30 days, whatever it would be. That's how you build up your retirement assets in your retirement accounts. Through dollar cost averaging. So building positions isn't a bad thing.
Not at all. And our next texter writes, "Good morning, everyone. What would you consider explaining the different types of insurance and the limitations of each that is available for investments, including maximums from banks and brokerage? This refers to the theft of assets. Thank you."
So first thing, when we're talking about financial protection, you have bank deposit protection, which is FDIC insurance. That is $250,000 per individual per type of account. So if you have a joint account or a trust account, you have a $500,000 FDIC limit. If you have an individual account held at a bank, it's $250,000. If you have multiple accounts at a single bank, they need to be titled differently in order for them each to maintain their own FDIC insurance. So, for example, you have a checking account and a savings account, both individual accounts at a single bank. You have a total of $250,000 of FDIC insurance for both accounts. Or you have an individual account that has a $250,000 limit of insurance, and then you have a joint account that has a separate limit of the $500,000. So you want to be careful. It's per institution, per title of account. So there are a few quirks in there. Second type of go ahead, Dad.
No, I thought that was very well done.
And then you also have SIPC insurance, and this is for your investment accounts. Each account held at an investment company has an SI. Now, this is where things can become different, because brokerage firms, depending upon the brokerage company you are working with, could have different limits. It cannot be less, but it can be more than what the government has laid out. So the SIPC insurance is $500,000 per account for securities, $250,000 for cash in each account. This also has a titling requirement, but no aggregator. So if you have a joint account, you have a IRA account, and you have a separate simple IRA account. Each of those get their own SIPC coverage. So important to keep that in mind when you are titling and transferring your accounts.
All right. And our next texter writes, good show and good morning. I had a mammogram on December 30th under Aetna Insurance. Additional images were required and taken January 5th when the insurance had changed to United. Which insurance covers the additional images? United.
That is correct. United Healthcare is so as of January 1st, you are no longer associated with Aetna. Now they can still bill you for the things you did last year, but they won't cover anything after January 1st. United will come in and pick up those additional images, and they are actually required by law to pick up those additional images because this is in conjunction with a service that you were already receiving prior to your transition to the new coverage. So you won't have any issues with denial. United Healthcare will take care of it for you. Hopefully, when you went in to have those additional images, you showed them your United card. If you did not, just give them a call on Monday morning and update your insurance information because Aetna is going to reject it, but that's okay because you have coverage. So just go, if you didn't show them that new card, go ahead and do that so they can rebill to United Healthcare.
All right. And our next texter writes, what do you know about federal employees now being able to receive Social Security benefits from their spouse, while their spouse is still living? Seems something changed last year.
I would assume that this is in reference to the elimination of the windfall provision that happened at the very end of the Biden administration. So that was at the very end of 2 years ago, very beginning of last year, where certain if you were an employee paying into federal pension or into PSRS pension potentially, and you also worked elsewhere where you were paying into Social Security, then instead of having your Social Security benefits reduced by your alternative pension, that is no longer the case. So you'd be able to receive your full Social Security benefit, whatever that happens to be, based on your work history outside of your participation in other pension programs, in other public pension programs. So that would also apply to spousal benefits, meaning if your spouse was the one that had the windfall originally tied to them, it's now been lifted, so they could claim off of your Social Security. It's still only going to be 50% of the Social Security benefit, and it's also going to be based on the claimer's age if it's going to be additionally reduced, but there, as opposed to it being almost completely eliminated, there may be some money there for you.
All right, and our next texter writes, our next texter writes, how are annuity payments taxed? Well, part of the payment is a return of principal. The other part is interest, and you will pay taxes on that money according to your individual income tax rate. You won't pay capital gains on those gains.
And that would be if
interest,
the annuity is outside of a retirement account, right?
Correct.
And you've annuitized the contract.
Absolutely.
If you are just making withdrawals from an annuity that is outside of an IRA account, then all the interest is going to come out first, right?
It's going to take all that interest. It's like an ice cream float. And all the foam at the top is the interest, and that's what you got to suck out first.
So you pay taxes on all that first, and then once you get back to what you originally contributed, which would be your basis or your premium, that's when it's going to be non-taxable to you.
Correct.
If your annuity is inside of your IRA account, it's all taxable. That's easy. Right?
Absolutely.
All right.
And you know what else is easy?
What else is easy?
Stay in tune for our next hour where we're going to touch on some Medicare.
It's been weeks. I know it's probably hard to imagine. It's been weeks since we've had a Medicare segment.
We've had like a little bit of a Medicare hangover from being just like going all out during open enrollment.
Right. Now it's time for another enrollment period, so we're here to discuss it because we're already in the thick of it. So don't touch that dial. Hang on through the news, and we will be back after these messages.
works, what the real benefits are, get granular on it. And for any reason or for no reason, if you want to come back in and put eyes on other plans or make that switch, you're certainly able to do so. So in those first 3 months of the year, you really want to, try out these plans if that's suitable and, just kind of see how they work for you.
But as you are trying them out, remember that if you do make a switch, nothing comes with you. So if you have spent money on your previous plan, it is not going towards your new out-of-pocket maximum. So let's say that you went to a specialist and it was $50. That's $50. I don't want to say down the drain because you went to see the doctor, but that's not going to go towards your new maximum out-of-pocket if you switch. So if you start out with a United policy and you pay a copay, and then for February 1st you have switched back to Aetna, for example, any money you spent in January is not going to be recorded in in February with Aetna. Now that works to your benefit in two ways, or that works to your benefit in one way, which is if nothing comes with you, then let's say you did have some dental work done in January, you have a brand new dental benefit completely clean with the new company in February, your payments for the year are also completely clean. So that means that you could end up spending a little bit more money. So you do want to have an extended conversation with someone before just making the switch.
And if it ain't broke, don't try to fix it.
Exactly.
And our next texter writes, you can only make a change once, though, correct? Before March 31st? Then you'd have to wait in October to change again. In theory, you could change your Medicare Advantage plan right now in January, takes effect in February.
And then you're done. You only get one do-over.
Only one do-over. So whatever you do select.
You've selected it.
And now you're going to live with it until October.
Well, you're going to live with it till December 31st. You get to choose a new plan for next year, but your new plan for
2027.
Your new plan for 2027, it won't go into effect till January 1st. So, yes, if you make a change during open enrollment, you're done.
And our next texter writes, I came in late to this conversation. Is the Aetna Medicare Gold Advantage plan back in play? That's what we changed from to Humana at the end of last year.
Here's the thing.
It never wasn't in play.
Right. Every year during annual enrollment, so when October rolls around, everyone's first question is, what's the best plan available? I don't believe, and yes, Medicare has star ratings, and I am not discounting the star ratings by any means, where Medicare itself goes into each of these plans and through multiple lines of evaluations gives ratings to each policy that you're able to elect, customer service, claims paying, client satisfaction, provider satisfaction, a lot of different lines, metrics. Not discounting those, but if there's a 5-star plan out there, which means that's the best around, and none of your doctors are in the network, is it really the best plan for you? No. So if you made a switch from Aetna to Humana, maybe it's time, maybe you want to take these 90 days and evaluate, does it make sense to go back to Aetna? But if I am just comparing benefits alone between Aetna and Humana,
Humana comes out ahead.
Humana comes out ahead on a lot of the big lines.
By a country mile.
In terms of dental, in terms of maximum out-of-pocket. But if you drill down to some of the other benefits, Humana doesn't come out ahead. If you're someone that needs physical therapy, if you're someone that needs imaging, maybe consistently, Aetna still has better prices on those line items. So we were only making the comment, since you came in a little bit late, that Aetna and BJC made a decision at the very end of enrollment last year, really all the way up into the deadline. So for us, we were trying to say, let's take the bird in the hand, which is Humana's a great policy. It has BJC in the network. Why don't we move you to this new policy? You could always go back during annual enrollment if you want, or you could always go back in 2027 if you don't love Humana. But I don't think just because you made a switch, that means you should now switch back. So it's probably a case-by-case basis.
Absolutely. And I think we've beaten the text line down into compliance, but we have one more, and our texter writes, what is the procedure to change your Medicare insurance company January through March? If you change companies, can you use the insurance company you currently have until the new one kicks in? Can you tell me about Devoted Insurance, the pros and the cons?
So I think we kind of already went over the procedure, which is you apply, you send your app in, you get coverage the first of the next month.
And you'll use your current insurance until the new one kicks in, obviously.
That's exactly. So just because you've applied for a new plan, your old plan is not automatically terminated. You're going to get coverage through the end of the month. You do not have to call and notify your current provider, because what happens is this all transacts at the Medicare level on your Social Security benefits. So that's why when you apply, you put your Medicare ID number on. That all is filtered through the Center for Medicare Services. And when they see a new application, they're going to terminate your currently existing one automatically, because you cannot have two Medicare Advantage plans at the same time. So all that administration is going to happen for you, just like it does every year when you make a change in October through December and it goes into effect January. You don't have to terminate your old Medicare Advantage plan. You do have to terminate the supplement, but people that are on supplements right now are not offered the opportunity to make this change to a Medicare Advantage plan, so we don't have to worry about that.
And as far as the Devoted Insurance, I really couldn't tell you all that much, because during this open enrollment period, the max out-of-pockets for Devoted were elevated compared to some of the other carriers, so we didn't wind up using them.
Devoted is a newer company in our area. Maybe they've been around for 2 or 3 years now. They have a much more limited product line available. There's only maybe 2 or 3 policies available through Devoted at the moment. That doesn't mean that they won't become more robust, not only in this area, but overall, not just with product lines, but also maybe with what their products have to offer. So it is not one of the more popular options
at the moment.
However, if you are someone that is doing this on your own, sounds like you might be if you are making these choices without the assistance of a broker or a professional, then, and you want enhanced customer service, I can speak to the fact that that is what Devoted prides themselves on, which is just like Essence. Devoted is local. You're going to talk to similar people every time you call in. There are not huge call centers located halfway across the world where you're calling in multiple times and getting new people. So for our clients, we don't factor in customer service because that's us. If you have trouble, we want you to call Rob or to call Frank to get assistance with whatever's going on. You need a new card sent to you. You got a bill in the mail. You think it's wrong. We'd like to be the middleman for you, so to speak, so you don't have to deal directly with the insurance company. But if you don't have someone like us, then customer service is probably important because you don't want health care to be your part-time job in retirement. I do know that I've chatted with several people from Devoted. We've seen quite a few presentations from Devoted over the last couple of years, and that is usually the number one thing that they talk about, which is that they have excellent customer service.
Absolutely. And our next texter, and this one is someone right out of my own heart, writes, if you get your over-the-counter things in January and then change to a new policy before March 31st, do you get double?
Yes.
In essence, you don't get double, but you will have extracted that benefit, and you'll have a new benefit to start working on.
Right, but I think aren't most of the over-the-counter benefits offered on a quarterly basis?
They are.
So if you change before the quarter ends, then yes, you could get double in the first quarter, but you can't spend all of your over-the-counter benefits in 1 year in the first quarter. You only get them doled out to you on a quarterly basis. But let's say you spent all of the money in January and then you changed January 31st for February 1st for a new effective date, you would have new over-the-counter benefits with the new policy. So if you are in need of a lifetime supply of toothpaste, might be a clever hack.
I would just invite our texter to think a little bit bigger.
Think bigger.
Forget about the over-the-counter for a moment, although that's a nice sweetener.
Dental is hearing
really,
aids.
Exactly. That's where you want to, for this plan to really work. I mean, small ball in it with over-the-counter is great, but if we're really going to try and put our foot to the pedal here, let's...
Right, ladies, if you're concerned your husband is starting to lose some hearing, and you want him to have double the hearing aid benefit this year, maybe that is a consideration. I mean, we kid, because the reality is that what is most important, and Rob, I think you say this the best, we're choosing a health plan.
Right. This isn't a dental plan. This is not an over-the-counter plan. This is not a hearing aid plan. I mean, all those things are nice, and we certainly want to extract as much as we can, as much as we're entitled to, but ultimately it comes down to who are you seeing and what are you taking, and are you in the lowest cost environment for those essentials? The supplement part of this is great, but again, that's the sweetener. That's not
the meal, or
right. That's not the deciding factor of why we chose the plan.
Exactly.
I mean, it could be in a certain situation, like if you knew going into a certain year that you were going to have a lot of dental work done, you may say, "Hey, Rob, I really need to you to put eyes on plans with an emphasis on the dental benefit, and while still trying to work in my doctors and my medications." Absolutely. But 9 times out of 10, that is not the deciding factor of why you would choose a plan.
Right. And if some of those things do become your deciding factor, then you're going to, and I think Frank says this well, sometimes we have to make choices, which is if you are keyed in on the dental benefit, then that might mean you are giving up physicians, or it might mean that you're paying more for things that you wouldn't necessarily. So that's why I think it's a great idea. And this is a little bit more relaxed of an enrollment period, because most people have made their decisions. Even if we've got some people up in the air, the majority of people have made a choice, and they're going to stick with it throughout the year. So agents like Rob and Frank have significantly more time to devote. You have a little bit more time to think about things if you would like. So I would say that this is a great opportunity, that if you are somebody that needs to drill down a little bit further, like you are someone that's using physical therapy or imaging and you're not on an Aetna policy, maybe you want to do a double check for your upcoming expenses this year. But the truth is, this is kind of a oops enrollment period, which is, oh gosh, I didn't have the opportunity, I didn't have the time for whatever reason. This isn't really like, oh, I've been on the plan for 5 minutes and let me check again. So
it's almost like an afterthought in a certain regard, but we give it a little bit more emphasis this year, given the uncertainty that was going on between Aetna and BJC.
Sure.
We kind of knew that we had a second bite of the apple, and that certain people might want to give. And, another factor in all this is, we've had some clients that have been on Aetna policies for 10 years. So,
yes,
with that, it breeds a certain familiarity. Right. And you want to stay with what what you're comfortable with. And, we get that. But unfortunately, given the uncertain nature of, negotiations and how they ended up last year, you were kind of forced to make a switch that you may not have wanted to make. And we certainly understand that.
I mean, I learned that maybe my favorite line to deliver doesn't always land, because we have quite a few clients that are very loyal to Aetna, which is fantastic. They've been an excellent company for quite a long time, still are an excellent company. But I used to say we hate all the insurance companies equally. We have some clients that are pretty devoted to the companies that they have been with, which, if they've paid the claims in times that have been difficult for you, I could completely understand how it's like, hey, this worked for me. If it's a few extra dollars, I'll spend the few extra dollars because I know that they came through on the big dollars.
And, when you've had a relationship with an insurance company for like 10 years, there can be a bit of trauma bonding in a certain way. No, I mean, you had a big operation. You had a car accident. They were there. They dotted every I.
Right.
They crossed every T. You didn't have to worry about anything. Your feet never hit the ground, so to speak. You had a good experience, and you're not looking to change it. Totally understandable. And especially when, the cost of changing, like, what am I going to save? A couple $100? Meanwhile, when
giving up all of that security.
Right, when
sure.
things mattered most, they were there, and, they made sure things went off without a hitch, and now you're telling me I need to change for $300? No, I don't. $300.
Don't think I will.
Right, exactly. And, not everything is about the dollars and cents, even when it is.
Sure.
That makes sense?
Let's get our last text before we take our first break of this hour.
And our next texter writes, so you probably shouldn't have a big thing done like a colonoscopy if you're thinking of changing.
So you picked a funny one, because colonoscopy for many people is at no extra charge, right? Because that's something that you have to have done on a routine basis, and it's covered under insurance. However, if your colonoscopy is not covered under insurance, or you're planning something else that's going to have a larger expense associated with it, I agree with you. Maybe we're waiting until you've chosen the plan that you're going to spend the majority, essentially like disinherit themselves if they are receiving assets, and allow it to pass into the trust. The trust document is going to outline that for you. Now, some broker-dealers require that you go back to an attorney for a letter of instruction to tell the broker-dealer what is acceptable in terms of a distribution pattern. Our broker-dealer does not require that. If they have a copy of the trust on file, they will what's called a look-through and then approve the distribution pattern without additional expense to the estate. But the trust does not go through probate, so that is not an expense that would be incurred by the estate.
Honey, I'd just like to add one other comment,
Sure.
kind of going back to the last discussion about the trust. For our clients that are creating trust and using private trust company, which is basically the bank that LPL owns, as the trust department, the trust language can permit, if the client wants, to name Erin and Rob and I as the investment advisors to the trust.
Right.
Obviously, the trustee has the right to continue that relationship or not, but having a trust department that you would think of would be friendly to their advisors and knows their situation is something that could be beneficial. And certainly, if you have an advisor, you should be looking down that road as compared to picking a bank who basically kicks everybody else out.
Also, in our experience, working with banks as trustees versus individuals or other trust companies, sometimes banks are, I would call it a plain text reading of your trust, and it may be difficult for your beneficiaries to extract funds, not in a way that was against your wishes, but in a way that wasn't narrowly defined by your wishes. So I would interview these places before you make the selection, because they are the ones that are ultimately going to manage your estate when you're gone. And I would include all of these things that we've discussed: price, location, what you're looking to do in terms of, maintaining the assets after you're gone inside of the trust, or dispensing of all of them. All these things are going to be important decision points for you that will lead you to the right answer.
Or maybe even feeling out some friends and neighbors who have perhaps used these institutions to manage their affairs. How was their experience?
That's a good point, too. That is a good point. We have so many additional text questions on deck. Why don't we take our first break of the hour, and when we get back, we're going to return to our text from last week, continue on with our text from this week. So please keep them coming. 314-931-5877 if you'd like to hear your voice on the radio, or 84126 on the text line. We'll be right back.
Let's talk about smart choices for your money. It's Straight Talk and Retirement on the Big 550 KTRS. Here are your retirement coaches, Jeff and Erin Lapidus.
Well, welcome back, everyone, to Straight Talk on Retirement, live and local. If you have any questions, give us a call, 314-931-5877 or 84126 on the text line. We're going to keep on answering those questions.
Yeah, we're getting inundated with your text. We want to circle back to one we received when we had to abbreviate our show last week, and our texter wrote in, "Good morning. This is my favorite radio show. I'm retiring in March of this year. I am turning 67 in February. My wife is already drawing Social Security, and I have a pension for a total net income of $4,600. Our house is paid off. Our budget is $6,000 a month. I'm delaying Social Security until 70. We have $2.5 million in investments, of which $120,000 are Roth. We have $100,000 in savings. I'll be working part-time, earning $1,000 a month. We are in good health and active, and in thinking in terms of a Medicare Advantage plan. Any key advice and timing for our upcoming actions we should be taking?"
It's a great question.
Boy, this is a big one. So what I started to do was a little bit of calculations on numbers, babe.
All right. Why don't you start with the numbers, and then I'll go back with the timeline.
Sounds good. So our texter gave us some really good detailed information. So they basically said that their income need was $6,000 per month. Naturally, what we're going to do is increase that by 20% to take care of federal and state taxes. Takes us to $7,200 a month. They currently have $4,600 a month of net income coming in from his wife's pension and Social Security, leaving them with a deficit of $2,600 per month. If he continues to work, as he's discussed, on a part-time basis, $1,000 a month, that means they currently need about $1,600 per month. Over a 12-month period, $19,200. And if we get to the how are they on money, we know that the milk money, that portion of the assets that really we're going to be dedicating to create that income flow, is about $480,000. They're rock stars.
And not only are they rock stars because you didn't even add in
his part-time work.
Not his part-time work that was added in. Oh. It's Social Security didn't get added in because he's going to delay that until 70 years old. So only for basically a 3-year period would we be creating that income, and then Social Security is going to probably cover over the majority, if not all, of that additional income need. Which makes me wonder if having that conversation on that election wouldn't be worth it. Like, do we really want to put the pressure, even though it isn't a lot of pressure, and your portfolio can certainly handle the $19,000 that you need to make your life work? Do we want to even do that? Good question.
Rob, you make a very good point here, because we know that he'll be bypassing approximately $122,400 of Social Security benefits, which are also only taxed at a maximum of 85%, or only 85% of that is subject to federal income tax. So does it make sense to do that? I don't know. I would certainly say that the reason that most people put off taking their Social Security elections is because of they want to create a larger income stream for their spouse, should their spouse predecease them. And I would say that we don't have quite enough information, but if we were to assume that his wife's pension, which is probably running about $2,000 a month, is 100% joint and survivor, then there won't be any income loss on that basis.
On that piece, right?
Exactly. So, since they have so much in assets at this point, a significant amount, more than they need to develop their income stream, Rob, I think you made a very good point. Why pass up the money now?
Yeah, I mean, there could be a very good reason, but just from like looking at this outside of in a vacuum, it just seems like if we turn that faucet on, that we don't have any leakage on his portfolio. Just two ways of getting to the same place, I guess.
Well, you're right, Robin, because it appears that he's reached normal retirement age, or he will in February. His part-time income of $1,000 a month, he can continue to do that as a fidget if he likes, but he won't negatively affect. There won't be any Social Security take back for him either. So
that's right.
It's kind of nice when you're holding the cards, and in this case, they're holding all the cards. There aren't any wrong decisions here because no one knows how long they're going to live. Will they live long enough to make up for that 3 years worth of Social Security that they bypassed? Usually takes anywhere from 9 to 12 years to do that. If it makes you feel good, do it. Otherwise, let your retirement assets grow for another 5 years until you hit 70, or 6 years until you hit 73, when you're required to make those distributions.
Yeah, total rock star here in the making, and has plenty of options, and you love to see it.
Right. So, great question. I mean, great timing for this question, because with retirement in March, that means we probably want everything to line up for an April 1st start date. That would be Social Security. That would be Medicare for sure. Now we have a Social Security question kind of up in the air. My recommendation is that you apply. if you decide to apply for both benefits, that we apply for those benefits separately. Although they both come from the Social Security Administration, Social Security income takes longer to process than Medicare. So if you apply separately, then the two aren't tied together any longer. My recommendation would be that if you've already let your employer know that you are retiring in March, then I would go ahead and if you have already been working with someone to help you secure your Medicare coverage, you're going to want to ask them for assistance with enrollment, and they'll provide you with a request for employer information, which you'll take to your employer, get them to sign off on and say you've been on that coverage. Since the day you turn 65 until March when you plan to retire, you'll need one for yourself and one for your wife. If you aren't working with someone, you can always call our office, and Frank or Rob will help you out with that piece of things. Help you out with the timeline. You'll want, if you're going to have your Social Security begin and you want an April check, that means you want your benefits to begin in March. So now is a perfect time to apply for those benefits as well. You can do both through ssa.gov. So when you apply for Social Security and you request an effective date for your benefits to begin, your first check will not arrive that month. The check will arrive the month after. So if you want your benefits to begin in March, that means the 8% stops accruing in March, but your first check doesn't arrive until April. So it's important to keep that in mind when you are making decisions on retirement planning, on your retirement, so you can line up the cash flow appropriately.
Well, honey, and I hope they come and visit with us, because we know that once they go through the process, if they do become clients, now we can tell the whole story on the show.
Right.
Ball.
The rushing touchdown, and Missouri extends the lead.
KTRS AM, FM 106.1, K291CW St. Louis.
From ABC News, I'm Brian Clark. It's been a week since the U.S. military operation that ousted Venezuela's Nicolas Maduro, and at the White House Friday, President Trump hosted oil executives urging them to spend money in Venezuela to rebuild the oil infrastructure. But Bob McNally, the founder and president of Rapidan Energy Group, tells ABC that any change would not come overnight.
This meeting went a long way toward closing the expectations gap that had opened up between the president, who wants to see the capital go in tomorrow and oil to flow fast, and the oil companies who have to explain to him this is going to be a long and winding road and a slow voyage on that road.
The president continued to offer support for the demonstrations in Iran.
As demonstrators across Iran risk death, President Trump making clear he is siding with the protesters.
I tell the Iranian leaders, you better not start shooting, because we'll start shooting too.
Dozens of protesters have been killed, thousands more arrested, according.
That's ABC Chief Global Affairs Correspondent Martha Raddatz. President Trump later clarified the start shooting comments, saying he did not mean that U.S. troops would intervene. He's calling for a cap of 10% on credit card interest rates for 1 year, accusing companies of ripping off the American public. It's not clear how a cap would be enacted, but some industry groups say this would hurt Americans because it would reduce access to credit. As demonstrations continue in Minnesota over the shooting death of Renee Good by an ICE agent Wednesday, Senator Amy Klobuchar has a message for demonstrators.
I feel like some things are being said to try to trigger us, and people should not take the bait. They should not take the bait. They should listen to Renee Good's wife's words, which is, go with compassion, don't go with hate, don't take the bait here.
6 people were killed in a series of shootings in Clay County, Mississippi, near the Alabama border. Authorities say a suspect's in custody. You're listening to
Billy, your gas light's on. We need to stop and fill up.
No way, Jen. Gas around here is too expensive. We can make it a little further.
Billy, listen to your big sister. You don't need to drive all over searching for the lowest gas prices. Do what I do and use Upside.
Upside?
Do you live under a rock, Billy? Upside is the hottest cash back app out there. It's free to download, and you get real cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. I use it all the time, and I've already made around $200.
You can make that kind of cash back just for buying the gas you have to buy anyway?
Yes, I'm looking at the Upside app now, and you can get up to a $5 cash cashback bonus on your first tank.
Okay, I'm stopping to download Upside and fill up my tank. Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code STATE5 to get up to a $5 cashback bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code STATE5 to get up to a $5 cashback bonus on your first tank. That's code STATE5 for up to a $5 cashback bonus.
Luigi Mangioni's attorneys were in court Friday. They want to throw out the death penalty in the trial of the man charged with killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Their reason, it's because of Attorney General Pam Bondi's previous work as a lobbyist for a firm that did work with United Healthcare. Mangioni's lawyers say that creates a conflict of interest, but ABC legal contributor Bernarda Villalona says,
in reality, what's going to happen is that she didn't have a financial gain, doesn't have a financial gain, and Pam Bondi is not going to be the person that's going to be in the courtroom actually litigating this case. So highly unlikely that the judge is going to determine that there's a conflict of interest.
Meanwhile, in Texas, jurors sat through a dark day of testimony in the criminal trial of former Uvalde schools officer Adrian Gonzalez.
In the third day of testimony in the criminal trial, prosecutors called a former state investigator who photographed the Robb Elementary classroom where 11 students were killed. Prosecutors argued the graphic images are necessary to prove their case. The judge told the courtroom,
I'm going to forewarn you, these photographs are going to be shocking and gruesome.
Prosecutors argue that Gonzalez endangered each of the students in that classroom by failing to follow his training during the frantic police response to the shooting. He's pleaded not guilty. From Corpus Christi, Texas, Peter Haralambous, ABC News.
I'm Brian Clark, ABC News.
Do you hear that? Asthma triggers are everywhere, from dust mites, pet dander, and pollen, to smog and smoke. An asthma attack can strike anywhere, anytime. Be prepared with quick-acting Primatene Mist. Clinically proven to open airways quickly. It's the #1 FDA-approved asthma inhaler available over the counter. Primatene Mist. Breathe easy again. Use as directed.
Welcome to Straight Talk and Retirement, your no-hype source for financial advice in making informed choices about your retirement plan. Get on the phone to talk today at 314-931-5877 or text your question to 84126.
The opinions voiced in this show are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, and financial advisor or tax advisor prior to investing. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Private Advisor Group, a registered investment advisor. Private Advisor Group and JBL Financial Services, Inc. are separate entities from LPL Financial.
Now, here are your retirement coaches, Jeff and Erin Lapidus.
Well, welcome back to hour number 2 of Straight Talk on Retirement. It's 10:06 here on the Big 550 KTRS. I know Erin and Rob are chomping at the bit to talk a little bit about Medicare, but they may decide alternatively to take those texts that we might have had left over from hour number 2. Take it away, kiddies.
Yeah, we've got a couple of texts from the last hour, but we're going to do some general housekeeping on Medicare, being we're in the new year now.
That's right. Let's do it.
And as we wrap up open enrollment and move into 2026, we've been getting several calls and emails all asking the same question. Hey, guys, where are we with things moving into the new year? I heard Aetna and BJC settled, so am I still good to go for 2026? What if United and SSM do not make a deal? Will I have another opportunity to change? Well,
let's dispense one thing quickly because we have been getting a lot of calls about this. The United Healthcare and SSM negotiations are not pertaining to Medicare or Medicare Advantage plans. So they don't pertain to your supplement if you have a supplement through United Healthcare AARP. They do not pertain to Medicare Advantage if you are using a United Healthcare AARP Medicare Advantage plan. United and SSM already signed a 2-year deal for those lines of coverage. Right now, United and SSM are negotiating on private pay insurance. So group health insurance offered through your employer, individual health insurance that you may have obtained in the past. United doesn't sell individual policies long-term in Missouri any longer. So just clearing that piece of things up.
Absolutely.
For everyone, because I know there's a lot of concern about that.
Right. They hear that they're in negotiations, and right away, they're not, when they put out these news reports, they're not saying, hey, only these people will be affected. If you're on a Medicare Advantage plan, you don't have anything to worry about.
Exactly.
They never give you any of that context. So
yep.
Thank you for doing that. But as we go into the new year, whether you did or did not change plans, you should already have your cards by now. Another little hack that a lot of our clients have tuned us onto is a lot of people will sign into their account, and rather than carry their physical card with them, they'll leave their physical card at home, sign into their account with whatever carrier that they signed on with for the year, and take a picture of their card with their phone, which I thought was pretty ingenious. That way they always have the card with them, and they never have to worry about carrying the physical card. They could leave that at home. Just a little hack that a lot of our clients have clued us onto that I thought was pretty smooth.
Are you calling your mother-in-law a hack?
No, I'm saying that's a nice little life hack that she has. Is she an early adopter on taking a picture of the various cards and just keeping them on the phone?
Oh, I'm sure not only does she have the card, a photograph of it on the phone, but she probably has the special app where you can just scan the card. Advanced.
The phone is the center of the known universe. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah, if you found my phone, I won't even get into it, but we'll move right along to Aetna and BJC. Now that the dust has settled and it appears that Aetna and BJC have made their deal, you may be considering going back to Aetna. If you joined into the plan because you were unsure about BJC docs accepting Aetna next year, you can schedule an appointment. And because we have another open enrollment period specifically for Medicare Advantage enrollees that runs from the beginning of January all the way to the end of March. So if you find yourself in a situation not unlike the one we just had between Aetna and BJC, where there was some confusion, they were in negotiations, went to the 11th hour, we didn't know if that was going to get done, and you wound up switching plans, and now you want to go back, you have the second enrollment period to take advantage of. So just want to, put that out there for everyone who's listening, who may have had to make a switch that they may not have necessarily wanted to do, but felt like they had to do it because of the uncertain nature of the environment we were going to find ourselves in 2026. You do have a second opportunity, a second bite of the apple, as I like to say.
So in that, we're already, it's January 10th right now. So we're already into open enrollment by a few days. If you are a person that switched away from Aetna and you want to go back, what is the process for doing that?
You set an appointment with me or Frank, and we'll send you out a medical questionnaire. We'll have you fill it out. You'll send it back in. We'll review it. You'll come in for the appointment. We'll pull up the various plans that meet the criteria that is laid down in the medical questionnaire, and we'll move on from there.
So if you decide on a new plan, and you submit an application this month, when is the coverage effective?
February 1st.
All right. So, and then if
you did it in February, it would be good for March 1st. If you did it in March, it would be good for April 1st. So it's always going to be the following month, first day.
Perfect. And the very last day you can apply is March 31st, right?
March 31st. They give a very robust, almost a full 3 months to make that decision. So
it's longer than annual enrollment.
It is. And, my bias is to get these things right on the front end. That way we don't have to take advantage of a second enrollment period. But this year was a little convoluted given, negotiations that were going on with Aetna and BJC. And given the fact that so many of our listeners and clients were involved with Aetna Medicare plans, they added for another layer of a little bit of confusion. But no need to be confused. We're here to demystify all of it for you. And like I said, we have another open enrollment period that we're smack dab in the middle of right now. And if you'd like to take advantage of it, you're certainly able to do so.
And I don't know if we covered specifically who is this enrollment period for?
Medicare Advantage only.
So you already have to be on a Medicare Advantage plan in order to take advantage of this enrollment opportunity.
Correct.
All right.
Rob, I was going to say, for someone that's already switched, there might be reasons why you would not switch back.
Absolutely. In the case of just say Aetna, and say you made the switch to Humana, you may really have some dental work coming up this year. And right now, they have a very, very robust dental benefit of $4,000, whereas the Aetna one is only $2,000. You may be concerned because you have to have some procedures done this year, and you're worried about that max out of pocket, that you may come close to hitting it or exceeding it. The max out of pocket on the Humana plan is about $700 or $800 less than the Aetna plan. So there are various reasons why, if you made a switch, you want to keep what you have, certainly.
Yeah, if you sat down and had a conversation and made the decision that you wanted to make a switch, just because you have the opportunity to switch again, not everything is necessary. You already had your review. The plans have not changed from October 15th through December 7th of last year until today. This is just an enrollment period. It's actually been back on the books for 3 years now, but this was a Medicare-created, Center for Medicare Services created enrollment period that has come and gone over the decades. It's been back most recently. This is really just to give those Medicare Advantage enrollees the opportunity to make a change if they couldn't get in during the annual enrollment period last year, or if you're someone that kind of felt like you had a gun to your head to make a decision because Aetna hadn't finalized anything, your doctors are in BJC, you wanted to keep them and you made a switch. Maybe that's the reason why you want to make this maybe you want to take advantage of this enrollment period in order to switch back. Or if you just didn't take a look at your coverage last year and now you're like, maybe I should have done that, that would be the opportunity to say, let's use this enrollment period to make a change.
And, I like to end my meetings during open enrollment by telling people, we have a second enrollment period. So coming up in the beginning of the year that runs all the way to the end of March, by all means, kick the tires on your new plan. See if you like it.
I'm on this year. Now, we are not physicians, so this is not medical advice. But if this is something that's voluntary that you're planning that, hey, if I wait in an extra 2 weeks, everything would be fine, then maybe you are waiting till you're on the plan that you'll be on for 10, 11 months versus just the 1 month of the year.
All right, and our last comment for our Medicare segment says, thank you for being so accessible and straightforward in such an understanding way. Heart emoji.
Oh, I love a heart emoji. And I also love the
We appreciate the kind words.
We absolutely do, and the fantastic questions from everyone because they're all top of mind. And when we do this every day, sometimes we forget the most basic things, that people have questions about, especially over these Medicare enrollment periods because they can be confusing. And as the health plans continue to change and evolve, not everything's true across the board anymore. Like we saw that each dental plan is now very different versus in the past we could just tell you a dollar amount and that was kind of all we had to discuss. Now we have networks and no network and preventative and comprehensive. So it is important to take a look at what you've got because you're going to have it for the long haul most likely, or you've got your opportunity to make a change. And so if you'd like to do that, you can always give our office a call, 314-863-0008. Or if you hop on our website, jblfinancial.com, you can say, hey, I'd like a Medicare appointment, and you'll get to sit down with Rob or Frank sometime in the next couple of months, whatever works best for you. And like Rob said, we'll send out a medical questionnaire to you.
Pretty basic. What are you taking? Who are you seeing? Return that to us. We can prepare for the meeting. You come in. We make you some nice coffee. Sit down, go over all your options.
And then we help you get enrolled, or we say, hey, you made a great choice a month ago. Don't do anything. So, and if you happen to be turning 65 or you're getting ready to retire and you need some Medicare assistance, Rob and Frank are available year-round to help you with enrollment, with those enrollment periods as well.
We've just unchained Frank and myself from my desk, so, yeah.
That's right.
We've got all the time in the world.
And
I was going to say, I know that you mentioned that even though it's only the 10th day of the year, we've already helped 10 new people to enroll.
That's right. Now, if we could, guys, listeners, if you could help us out with this, I would love to be able to say that we helped a person a day, at least a person a day, by the time we get to open enrollment this year, which it's just really not that all far away. Just 9 months. And we'll be there again.
We'll be basically as soon as we get through
summer.
As soon as we get through
spring,
winter. They'll be already pestering us about the rollouts coming in the summer to get ready for the open enrollment. So no sooner did we leave the confines of open enrollment, we'll be returning relatively soon, sooner than you might think.
Dad, I already have my Christmas list. Rob's run the whole year, and we're ready to go. So I'll let you know what I'd like.
That sounds fine, and that's nice from a person that was Hanukkah every day. So I understand that.
Well, now I've graduated to Christmas every day.
Well, that's fine. I was going to say it. It's important for our listeners, that the ones that are clients, to realize that we are one of the big deals when it comes to planning for retirement is, how do I make that transformation or that transfer to Medicare? What is the right time to do it? How is it to do it? How is it going to affect me from a cash flow point of view? What expenses can I expect to see? And so being able to create a game plan that takes both of these sides, which is not just the healthcare side, but also the retirement income side, creates a lot of peace of mind for folks, and that's why, it's fun.
And do you know what, Dad? I think you can speak to this, which is that we know no matter what walk of life you come from, making a major transition, especially on your health care, can be a little nerve-wracking. That's in surround sound nerve-wracking, because even the retirement coach himself, who not only has sold life insurance for the better part of 50 years, but group health
insurance
and group health insurance for almost as long,
and then annuities,
and then been around Medicare for longer than I've been with you, Dad. But we've had a nice emphasis since I joined you 13 years ago. Still said, Erin, is this going to work? When he was transitioning off of our employer plan and onto Medicare, and also and Mom, we know you're listening to, he said the same thing when you came off the health insurance. I think he was more concerned about you, but he said, Erin, is this going to work?
Well, sure. And what happens is I did what our clients do. I leaned on the professionals. Here are my doctors, here are my medications. I didn't have any at the time, but what plan is going to fit the best for me, and based on me, because I'm keeping my doctor, period. I'm keeping my specialist, period. And so you guys found a match for me, and it's worked out very well, and I appreciate it. Really do.
Right.
As now our clients do.
So we know that this can be a nerve-wracking time for you, and that's why we're here to assist you with the transition, so you miss all of the potential pitfalls that you hear all of the horror stories about. It takes forever, it doesn't work, whatever the case happens to be, we've probably heard about it, and hopefully we can help you sidestep any of those things. But what we also would like you to do
is not sidestep the last 25 minutes of the show, because we will be back after these short messages.
Hi, I'm Mike Robinson with Robank Properties, and I want your fixer-upper home. It's crazy to spend a ton of money fixing it up when I will pay you top dollar right now. I don't even care what condition it's in. Your trash is my treasure. No inspections, no contingencies, just cold, hard cash. Call me, Mike Robinson, at 314-283-0867. That's Mike Robinson, 314-283-0867, or at robangproperties.com.
This is the Big 550 KTRS St. Louis, Alton, Valley Park, St. Charles, and the world.
Streaming live at KTRS.com.
This is Erin Lapidus, the retirement coach. Wouldn't it be great to have a game plan, a real strategy, so that no matter what was going on in the stock market, the economy, or the world, you could be confident about your retirement? Wouldn't that be great? If you're within 5 years of retirement, call me today at 314-863-0008. That's 314-863-0008. Or send me an email at Erin@jblfinancial.com to arrange your free coaching session. Let's get started on your retirement game plan today.
You've had all these great ideas about what to do with your outside space. Now's the time to take the next step and call Outdoor Living, because Pat Leahy and the gang at Outdoor Living have built a showroom which is a great resource for you. You can go in and see all the products they have, the composite decking, the metal framing. You see, at Outdoor Living, what they pride themselves on is building it right the first time and never having to worry about it again. So they build it. You can enjoy it for the rest of your life. Outdoor Living, their showroom on Big Bend and I-44 in Kirkwood, is a great resource for you. You can go and see all the different ways and all the different things they can do. Then they'll come out, they'll do a site visit, and in just a few short weeks, you will have the dream deck, fence, gazebo, pergola, whatever it may be. Outdoor Living, right there in Big Bend and I-44 in Kirkwood. 314-966-3325. or OutdoorLivingInc.com. Check out the showroom and take that next step. You'll love it. Outdoor Living or OutdoorLivingInc.com.
This is the Big 550 KTRS St. Louis, Alton, Valley Park, St. Charles, and the world.
Streaming live at KTRS.com.
This is Jeff Lapidus, the retirement coach. Wouldn't it be great to have a game plan, a real strategy, so that no matter what was going on in the stock market, the economy, or the world, that you could be confident about your retirement? Wouldn't that be great? If you're within 5 years of retirement, call me today at 314-863-0008. That's 314-863-0008. Or send me an email, jeff@jblfinancial.com, to arrange your free coaching session. Let's get started on your retirement game plan today.
The views and opinions expressed in the following paid program are those of the host, callers, and guests, and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of this station, its management, or owners. Now, back to Straight Talk on Retirement on the Big 550 KTRS. Here are Jeff and Erin Lapidus.
Well, welcome back to the show. It's 1040 here on the Big 550 KTRS Talk Radio St. Louis. We have approximately about 20 minutes left. We'd love to hear from you. Our phone lines are open, 314-931-5877 or 84126 from the Hot and Heavy KTRS text line.
But first, why don't we go to our first caller of the day, Sue? Woo! That's right, Sue. Thank you so much for calling.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Great. How are you?
I love your show. I got a question. I'm a client. I'm a client of yours. If you remember, I'm the one that paid for my 15 family members to go to Cancun last year.
Oh, we know. I know. I wish I had been one of those family members. Anyway.
Yes. Yes. Well, we just came back from Nassau the last couple of days. But I have a question. If I wanted to put my if I wanted to open an account with Jeff, and put money away, could I do that for like my daughter and my grandson and my granddaughter without them knowing it? Like I could just put money in it because you already have their information they're already on my accounts.
So we cannot open an account titled in the name of someone that doesn't know that we have opened that account for them. However, we could create a secondary account for you that has them listed as the primary beneficiaries. And it's an account that we've separated out for you both visually, but then also for the benefit of your daughter and grandson specifically. And then you could dole the money out to them when you'd like, or they would receive it at your passing. But unfortunately, because we do require signatures to open an account, so like let's say, for example, if it was just in your daughter's name and she wasn't the beneficiary of it, she was the owner of it, we'd have to have her sign, which means she would have to know what she was doing. However, we can always bypass that by just making her the beneficiary in a specific amount for a specific account.
Okay, so
we do that all the time.
Yeah. do I need to come in to set that up, or is that over the phone setting up? Or
Oh, you can do that over the phone with us. You just give us a call on Monday, or you leave us a voicemail today, and we'll give you a call back on Monday. We'll collect a little additional information. We'll have a chat, and then we'll get something set up for you, and we can always do everything by mail. And as you know, we put a return envelope in there that's already stamped and addressed, so you just sign what you need to sign. You send it right back to us. We get it all taken care of for you.
Yeah, well, I don't mind coming in.
We love seeing you, too, either way.
It's easy to get to your place. You're right there, off the road, and you just pull in, and, hey, there's everybody with their friendly faces. So, yeah, I don't have a problem with that. And, okay, well, I'll contact you. I'll get a hold of you guys in the next week or two and set something up. Like I said, I'm just now chilling because we just spent the week in Nassau. So
need a vacation from the vacation. I get it.
Yeah. So, well, you have a nice day, and Jeff, nice to hear you on the radio.
Well, thank you so much. I do appreciate that, and it isn't unusual for us to set up these types of accounts specifically for. A lot of times we're doing this for many of our clients' grandchildren.
Yes.
Where they like to put some money aside, but they'd also like to make sure they're able to control the asset. So we're setting up what's called typically a transfer on death account. If the child's a minor, we obviously are getting a parent involved on the transfer on death, so they're the guardian until the child's majority. But I think this is a smart way to do things. And when we have a discussion with folks specifically about how can I put money away and does it have to necessarily be for college or high school or whatever it would be, keeping control of the asset in your name, I think does two things. Number one is if there's any income taxes on any growth, you're paying for it instead of that child or grandchild. And secondarily, as Erin was saying, you really get to retain the control of when you want to give out money.
And for what purpose, too.
Exactly, because especially for younger ones, who knows what the future is going to be 5, 10, 15 years from now, whether they need it for college, they need it for a car, they need it for a startup, a business, whatever. They need it for walking around money. You being able to retain control makes you also be able to retain the choices. So it's good.
And I love the idea, especially when grandma and grandpa are setting up accounts for brand new family members. They're a month, 2 months, maybe even a year or two old. Newly minted family members. You don't know who they're going to be yet. So being able to say, I want to start setting money aside, but I don't know if college is the path that they're going to take, or maybe not. Maybe college is the path and they're just little geniuses. They get full ride scholarships. They don't need the money for school specifically. Now grandma and grandpa can step in at any point that they would like for any purpose that they would like and be able to, use the funds in the way that they would like versus putting them into that 529 plan or Coverdell or other type of college savings account and then being a little hamstrung in the sense that now that money has to go to college education for someone. Or, of course, there's a few new loopholes, like we can turn it into a Roth over a period of time.
Yeah, but then you jump through hoops.
Right. This is just going to be more flexible. And I also think it's so nice because that means that grandma and grandpa get to see the benefit of what they've done. If it's the car at 16 or it's that little extra help with college education, or if it's that help with the first down payment on the house, you actually get to be a part of all those moments instead of maybe just passing the money on after you're gone.
I wouldn't disagree with anything you said, honey, but I'd also add one other thing. I think it's important, and it's very difficult to really understand what, especially if you're a grandparent, what role is appropriate for you in your grandchild's life. Do you want to be directly involved in the educational costs of your grandchildren? Or is this something that you feel, I did this for my kids, so now this is their responsibility? And again, I think it's good to, if you retain control, not only are you able to retain the choices, but as Erin said, you'll be there at the moment when the money is spent. And that can be fun, too. So you're sharing in that enjoyment as well.
And you know what everyone else should share in, Dad?
The next break of the hour,
That's right. Well, you should share in the break, and then you should share in the last few minutes of the show. So we're going to take our last break of this hour. When we get back, amazingly enough, we still have more text questions to get to. So if you have one, hopefully we'll still have time to get to yours. Give us a call, 314-931-5877, or text us 84126 on the text line. We'll be right back.
The views and opinions expressed in the preceding paid program are those of the host, callers, and guests, and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of this station, its management, or owners.
Look at our alums, the contributions that they have made throughout industries in the St. Louis region.
Terry Freerix, a graduate of the University of Missouri, St. Louis.
UMSL is embedded in the fabric of the St. Louis community. We're hands-on, and when our students graduate, they are definitely career-ready, but maybe more importantly, they're career confident.
More is what moves us. Find your more at more.umsl.edu.
Diana from Newstetter's Fine Jewelers here to remind you, we don't just offer the best pieces, we offer one of the last master hand engravers in our country. My father can create timeless, personal, and unforgettable pieces. Come by our showroom at the corner of Big Ben and Doherty Ferry, or learn more online at wowdiamonds.com.
This is Erin Lapidus, the retirement coach. Wouldn't it be great to have a game plan, a real strategy, so that no matter what was going on in the stock market, the economy, or the world, you could be confident about your retirement? Wouldn't that be great? If you're within 5 years of retirement, call me today at 314-863-0008. That's 314-863-0008. Or send me an email at Erin@jblfinancial.com to arrange your free coaching session. Let's get started on your retirement game plan today.
Hey, it's Jill Farmer. New year, new fitness goals and resolutions. But what if getting stronger didn't mean living at the gym? At 20 Minutes to Fitness, you can build real strength and bone density with just one 20-minute workout a week. This isn't crowded gyms or endless reps. You work one-on-one with a trainer using scientifically proven strength methods. Each major muscle group is taken safely to deep fatigue in just a few minutes. And then your body rebuilds the rest of the week. That's where the results happen. It's perfect if you're starting fresh, coming back from an injury, or worried you've waited too long. They're staffed by health professionals, managed by a physical therapist, and clients range from their teen years all the way up to nearly 100. Doctors even recommend it to improve bone density, blood pressure, and overall strength. If you're using GLP-1 medications like Ozempic or Wegovy, this is one of the best ways to protect and rebuild muscle. No memberships, no crowds, just appointments, personalized training, and real results. Your first session is free. Now celebrating 24 years in Chesterfield and Clayton. 20 Minutes to Fitness. Make this the year strength finally fits your life.
Let's talk about smart choices for your money. It's Straight Talk and Retirement on the Big 550 KTRS. Here are your retirement coaches, Jeff and Erin Lapidus.
Well, welcome back to the show. You know, it's really been fun today. We always have a lot of things on our mind. What's more important is what's on yours. We've been hearing from you today. Keep the calls coming. 314-931-5877 or 84126 from the text line.
We love it when our listeners are engaged. And our next texter writes, and this one's all teed up for you, Jeff. My wife and I are retired in our mid-60s and in good health. We have sizable IRAs that we do not expect to draw on due to other sources of income. What are some general guidelines to maximize inheritance to our kids and grandchild?
Oh,
Great question.
This is a fantastic question. I love it.
Well, you know, what's important here is taxation. And if you don't need the money, it's great.
Fabulous.
But it also might put you in a situation where maybe what you might want to consider is the possibility of actually making withdrawals, doing it in a tax-efficient way. And then if you like, you can either begin to, continue to accumulate money, maybe in a TOD or trust, an after-tax account, which could grow, and at your death, pass on income tax-free because of the step-up in basis to fair market value at the date of death, or possibly, if you're interested, you could accumulate money for what I like to think of as meaningful gifts.
Dad, before you get to the meaningful gifts, I was just going to say, can we go back and talk about what does it mean to withdraw tax efficiently from, IRA accounts?
Well, we know these folks have some level. Well, we don't know, but we're assuming they have some level of taxable income, either from Social Security benefits, maybe,
or some pension, or rental,
real estate rental income, or consulting, whatever they're doing, and so they should be able to. They should know what their current marginal tax bracket is and what their effective tax bracket is. We're in a progressive tax system, which means that the more that you earn, in theory, the more that you pay. But at the end, the question becomes, is there room in currently your marginal tax bracket so that you're not really paying more than you are on other money? And then how does that effectively change your tax bracket? So that's what I would be taking a look at. I mean, especially this year as an example for our clients that are retired, many of them getting Social Security. We now have the new $6,000, if you're married, $12,000 Trump bump.
That's right. So you just need to be over 65 and $150,000 of income or less, filing jointly, and you both qualify for that.
And for many of our clients, what they're doing is they're increasing their withdrawals. Mm-hmm. Take advantage of those deductions. So that would be something that would be effective.
This is definitely something, aside from now things are getting a little bit more complicated because, Dad, you just laid out, an easy strategy that I always joke, almost anyone can do. How much did you bring in last year from take a look at your return? Where are the brackets now? And the nice thing is we don't ever have to say new brackets again because they're going to be in place for at least the full Trump administration. Where are you falling in that bracket? Now you can either add income or realize that you can't. But now we've got a few other pain points, which is if you go above the $150,000, you lose the deductions. If you go above a certain limitation in terms of income, then you're now going to pay more in Medicare Part B premium. So you definitely want to consult a tax professional or your advisor before you make any final moves on that piece.
Yeah, I mean, it's a dance. And so what you need to do is you really need to make sure that you're listening to the music before you step out on the dance floor.
That's a good one. I like it.
The only thing I would add to this is if he doesn't need any of those proceeds from the IRAs to make his life work, maybe we take some of that money to put towards a life insurance contract so that his children and grandchildren can inherit those assets intact.
That's an interesting one, which is, hey, maybe we're taking a portion of what you're withdrawing with those excess distributions and making the estate even bigger.
And I'm assuming a little bit here because they're both
insurable.
Exactly, because they're both in their mid-60s, so they're not too late in the game. So if there's no other insurability issue, it could be an option that would help them get to the same place vis-a-vis their kids and grandchild.
And I'd add one additional thing, Dad. I know you had some other things to add too, which is just at the base. What do we do? What are some tips and guidelines to maximize inheritance? Maybe you are now taking the approach that you are investing for your children and grandchild, meaning not what they would like, and not necessarily meaning that you're going to now become 100% equity, 0% fixed income, but maybe we are starting to gear portions of the portfolio for not just your time horizon for investing, but for your children and grandchildren's time horizon. So we can start to tilt portions of the portfolio to meet different and new investment objectives.
Yeah, I mean, that's really good. And then again, I was going to say on the very back end, since we know that those that are inheriting those IRAs are going to pay taxes, as Rob was saying, there might be a situation where you want to say, you know what, I want to get these intact as much as I can. Well, can I use existing life insurance contracts that I have? Maybe I'm changing the beneficiary designations to those kids and grandkids, which is something that I've done, so that when they inherit those IRAs, they'll have the money, the income tax refunds from the insurance company to pay those taxes. So they can empty those IRAs before the 10-year period and maybe do it in such a way so that, they have the money to pay Uncle Sam. That could be very important. Or as Rob said, if they don't have the coverage in place, if one of them is insurable, well, then you've got some planning to be doing. So it's just such a great environment that we have right now. Pro-business, pro-change, change is good. I mean, change is very good because it creates opportunities for everybody to do it. And really visiting with your advisor, asking these type of questions are things that we do literally in every single coaching session, whether it's with new clients, whether it's coaching sessions with existing clients. It's so much fun. And I was just thinking while we were off the air, that's why that's why we've always done this show live. You know, doing it being taped, it's not the same. It's an infomercial, but
it's not even as fun for us.
Oh, absolutely. And it really is fun to be able to find out what's on people's minds, give them as much as we can immediate answers, hopefully correctly, which I think we do most of the case, but really over a whole wide variety of topics.
And we've got one more text question before we wrap the show today.
Absolutely. And our next texter writes, I have a question about drawing Social Security. I'm thinking about starting to draw, but I know I'm going to have to still continue to work part-time. How do I find out how much money I can make before they get into my Social Security check?
Well, you don't have to find out how to find out because we've got the answer right here for you, Rob. How much can our texter earn in 2026 if she is under normal retirement age?
If you are under normal retirement age, Social Security will take back $1 for every $2 that you earn over $24,480.
Right, so that means you can earn $24,480 before Social Security gets into your check. Now, the year you turn normal retirement age,
they will take back $1 for every $3 above $65,160, and after you cross that magical bridge, there is no more take back.
Awesome.
So earn as much as you like.
So those take back numbers are adjusted for inflation, so they do change on an annual basis. Got a nice little bump, and what'll also be nice is when you tune into our show next week from 9 to 11, we'll be back to continue to answer your calls and text. Have a great week.
The opinions voiced in this show are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, and financial advisor or tax advisor prior to investing. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Private Advisor Group, a registered investment advisor. Private Advisor Group and JBL Financial Services, Inc. are separate entities from LPL Financial.
Be listening next week at 9 for more Straight Talk on Retirement with your retirement coaches, Jeff and Erin Lapidus, on the Big 550 KTRS.